Uncle George. Months during the war years, things would be very difficult for the family, and she was thankful that he was always thoughtful and kind to send a contribution. Uncle George will be missed by his family in the UK, but not forgotten. May his soul rest in peace from Sister Pearl. We heard today the wonderful musical tribute from RAFA, the Royal Air Force Association. Following the war, George played an active role in RAFA, sitting on the executive committee. He spent many hours with his ex-servicemen, who he met regularly with at Curfew Place. Having settled back into Kingston life, Uncle George married his beautiful wife, Myrtle. And while there were no children from that union, they were parents to their younger siblings, opening up opportunities that may otherwise not have been possible. Hazel, his sister, remembers her brother with a sad heart as he is no longer with us, but comforted to know he has gone to be with the Lord. She recounts, as a youth growing up, my mother always wanted me to experience the life she had when she was young. She grew up around the headmaster's table, and she wanted me to experience the same, but could not afford it. All of a sudden, her dreams for me came true. George married a teacher named Myrtle and asked my mum to let me come and stay with him. Miss Myrtle was like a sister to me. She was full of love and inspired me to be confident and independent. I left for the UK to get married. However, when his family, his nieces and nephews visited, Uncle George would always be at the airport waiting for us and would take us straight to the customs desk. We were allowed to leave the airport without waiting in the queue. There was always a bed for us at 9 Martello Drive. George, you will be greatly missed by the family, and may your soul rest in peace, like Hazel. George joined Bray and Nephew in 1959 and soon worked his way up the ranks to manager, impressing his peers with his intelligence, sharp focus and ambition. He was soon honoured with Salesman of the Year, winning an overseas trip as his prize. After his retirement in 1992, he remained close to the organisation. Uncle George continued to work hard and accomplish much throughout his life. As an active Justice of the Peace, he was one of the founding fathers of the Lay Magistrates Association, where he was honoured with a lifetime membership. He received the Badge of Honour for long and faithful service to his country. He received the War Medal and Defence Medal for serving in the RAF. He spent 17 years on the board of the Donald Quarry High School. A dedicated and long-serving member of this church, St. Boniface, and he works to bring souls to church as a member of the Brotherhood of St. Andrew. His role as big brother to his siblings never ceased throughout his career. In the words of his brother Leslie, he was strict, a man of his word, and never a pretender. When his youngest sister was only 10, he took her in to go to school in Kingston, along with his wife's sister. Norma Jean remembers her brother could be quite intimidating. She says the relationship was strained over many years, but there was reconciliation. Some years later, he sat her down in his kitchen and asked for forgiveness. That was the demonstration of his Christian walk and the spiritual healing in both their lives. As God ordained it, in his final days, this was the sister that prayed with him the night before he made the transition, and who testified the following morning she was touched by the look of peace on his face. In the end, love and forgiveness defined their relationship. She selected the words printed on the bookmark as a tribute of how we can continue to be inspired by his life. Andrea Cope, also known as Julie, looked after Uncle George for the last 15 years of his life. We must also remember Miss Ida and Dorothy Davis. As an employer, George was serious, but had a very good sense of humour. Honest, and not afraid to admit when he was wrong, and would say sorry. He was fun to be around. George also had an opportunity to be a father. In his later years, following the divorce from Aunt Myrtle, Uncle George fathered a son and a daughter. His daughter Janine White, who is a trained teacher, can expect our support in continuing the teaching legacy of 9 Martello Drive. Lloyd George White, a man who lived, loved, and left a legacy. The legacy of his service to church and country. The legacy of love and respect. earned through his generosity he showed his family, friends and co-workers, people who he invested in, provided a home for and inspired. We also learned from his life that it was never too late to seek forgiveness and mend wounded relationships. He was a good man, a well-respected man, a much-loved man. Uncle George, you will be missed.